What would you have liked to got out of that last look?
Well, Donovan was open really quickly, early. But we got the ball back to Donovan, I should say. So we have the ball in our best player's hands in the middle of the floor. And, you always want to get a cleaner look. Thought Rudy got pushed out by the initial screen. And, he eventually got flat and gave Donovan space. But, I don't think that, what hurt us was giving up offensive rebounds, particularly, late. And, obviously the last free throw. We secured the ball, but that's the rule, regardless of when they blow the whistle. But again, giving up two ends of the possession, our transition defense and our defensive rebounding, those scored 50-plus points on those two areas. Fast break points, you can usually add a dozen points to those as far as what's considered a fast break and what's considered, kind of in the flow and transition. So I think, if we have right focus in those two areas, we're not in a position that we're in at the end of the game.
Just given that those have been two areas that we've kind of talked about consistently after some games like this, what do you do to kind of drive it home? I mean, I'm sure you're sick of bringing it up.
No, I think you do everything you can, and we've, hopefully, there's situations sometimes you learn the hard way, as they say. But it's something that, we're going to need to be able to do to win. And it's just that simple. And tonight highlighted it, but there's been some other games where we've had the same situation.
Offensively, Mike had a good game, kind of running pick and roll with Rudy, and I guess when you're going down the stretch of a game like that, and Mike had several opportunities there, and then Bogey is shooting as well as he did. Mm-hmm. How are you deciding who to get the ball, who to get the ball to essentially?
Yeah, Donovan was handling, and it was either Mike coming out of the nail, kind of like he'd been doing, or Bojan coming out. And we had the other end of the free throw, and Bojan came out and got the ball. He'd been getting shots off the ball, so that's our execution down the stretch wasn't what it needed to be for a number of possessions, and then we did get some good looks when we executed. What you mentioned, Bojan got those threes where timing was good, but again, that's when you have different guys that are making plays. Donovan traditionally has been that guy down the stretch, but as you said, those are however you handle attacking a matchup, or that's something that we'll continue to do and make those decisions. And in this instance, we didn't get as good a look with Bojan, obviously, as we wanted. And again, you want to be better at everything, and we've executed really well in fourth quarters, but we didn't tonight. But again, we're just not in those situations if we take care of things that we can control.
And then John Morant and Desmond Bane both had good scoring nights, and just curious how you'd evaluate your defense against them.
Well, Bane got going early with a couple transition situations. I don't know what numbers were from the floor. Morant's 9 of 30, so he's going to attack, and the biggest play he made was the tip on the free throw rebound. And Bane, obviously, like I said, I thought, we lost track of him a couple times. A couple times there were offensive boards where he was loose, and a couple times in transition. So, you'd like to think we could do a better job, like I said, early. I think did he have their first 7 points, or 5 of 7? So he got some clean looks early. But from that standpoint, they scored half their points in transition on the offensive glass. So both those guys, I thought we made Morant work. I thought we could have done a little better job on Bane in the half court a couple times. But for the most part, I'd have to watch the tape and see exactly where his buckets came. We got lost on a couple of staggers, screens. He turned the corner on a couple of dribble handoffs where, maybe we could have switched sooner and gotten our bigs up on him. But I thought we did a good job of that versus Ja.
You talked about execution in the fourth quarter previous to that, and then also in earlier quarters in other games. Do you feel like, it seems like there's been sort of a let-up not to close quarters, that you guys haven't been closing quarters very well? Are you seeing the same thing?
Yeah, I think in general it's something that we fight as a group, that, whether it's, it's been at the beginning of the game, tonight, it's been at the end of quarters, our focus, on competing through the little things, and executing isn't there, and then it's there for a while, and we build a lead, and then our focus lets up, and that's been. There's been a couple times when we've really sustained it, and that consistency, is what you need. I mean, they were obviously coming off a tough night last night, and we knew we were going to be in the type of game that we were in. But again, there's certain things that we can control, and those are the things that, as much as anything, we focus on. And then obviously, you focus on the execution, both on the offensive and defensive end. But on the front end and the back end of the possession, if we don't take care of those two things, we just make it a lot harder on ourselves.